Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with part 13. And you picked me up midway through doing these yellow bands on these bombs. I've been out on the Land Rover, that's why you can see green paint on my hands. I've been spraying, and if my nails are a little dirty, I'm sorry, but I'm sort of in between stuff. So putting these on now, you can see how they look there. Okay, and you can see the finish on the bombs now as well, a bit better close up. So basically what we're doing now is putting these decals on. Now they give you 23 of these in the decals, so you're getting 2 spare, so you can afford to mess 2 up. They're not the easiest in the world to put on. I wasn't going to bother with any Microset and Microsol or anything because they are cartograph. I thought they'd go down really lovely, but they seem to be a little too big. It looks like they're asking us to put them a little further down, judging by the side of them. You get a lot of overlap, so I don't want to make them inaccurate. I mean, I'm looking at this picture here that we looked at before from the On Target Special V Bombers, fantastic book. And if you go to page 78, you can see the bombs there, and you can see they're actually, the actual yellow bands are quite close to the end of the bomb. Now I'm led to believe that those yellow bands are hand painted on, but looking at that picture they all look pretty even to me. So if they are hand painted, the guy that's doing them is pretty skillful. So that's why I've clipped these together, so I can get them all sort of pretty much in line, so that they're not all like, you know, all over the place, like they would be, say, on a Sky Raider, the bombs that they carry on, you know, in Vietnam and stuff. I think those bombs were very rough indeed. They had a very rough cast texture to them. They had a you know, writing all over them. So some had the long fuses, some had the short fuses. So you know, they did look completely different to these. But I need 4 here, don't I? So let's get 4 in there. We'll cut another one off ready for our pile of 3. What I'll do is I'll show you me putting a couple on, so you can see for the beginners how I do it. It's not how to do it, it's how I do it. Okay, so if you do it a different way, great. So what we're doing, we've got the decals in the water now. Most people have a bowl of water. I just put a drop on here. When it actually comes to the major decals, I probably will have a separate bowl, but with just a few little bits like this, I'm not really worried. And you can see now I've got a brush and I can move the decals around on the paper, so I know I can see that, for instance, that one's ready to go because it's floating away. So what I'm going to do is literally, remember these have had a gloss coat, which helps. So what I'm going to do is just literally pick up the edge of this, okay, and drop it on. If you notice, I haven't put any Microset on because I don't want this to start to set. I need to be able to move it around after a few minutes. And if you just curl it around, you will see that it's got quite a lot of overlap. You can see there, it's got quite a lot of overlap on it. So, you know, we're going to bring it forward, bring it to about the right position, and then sort of pull it around and let it overlap, and make sure the overlap's underneath so you don't see it. And if you do get a step, it doesn't really matter, because all you can see is that on these bombs. That's all you're going to see. You're not going to see this angle or anything, because the bomb doors will be in the way. You know, you might get 30 degrees to it. You might sort of get like that, but you won't get on top of it, down the side of it, sorry, or certainly you won't get underneath it. So that one there is roughly in place, and as you can see, I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just putting it there and leaving it. And then, in fact, I should have done the bottom one, shouldn't I? This is the trouble when you make videos. You're trying to concentrate on what you're doing and what you're saying, and this is why I make mistakes. And people that don't make videos don't understand. And people that do make videos fully understand what I'm saying. It's so easy to just say completely the wrong thing, because right now I'm really concentrating on what I'm doing. And when you're doing this at home, you would probably maybe have some music on in the background or something. You wouldn't want any distractions. But I'm doing this now with the total distraction of having to talk about what I'm doing and trying to explain to newer modelers that don't know how to do it how I do it. So this thing, so I'm just tapping it around and pulling it about. I'm not going to add any solvents, as I say. I'm not going to do anything with it yet. Okay, just move it up there. And if anything, I'm going to put some more water on it just to make sure it stays movable. Take another one. Just put that on there. let it pull around, and then stick that one down on top, just like that. Get it into roughly the right place you want it. Make sure the bottom's not sticking out like that one is there, look. Okay, that's all good. And I'm going to put some more water on here. Pick up this one. If you grab it by the very end, you should be alright. If you try and pick it up by the middle, it'll curl around on itself. But as long as you're quick, you'll be okay. They seem like lovely decals to work with, to be honest. Okay. And as I say, I've been led to believe they're hand painted on, so they don't need to be perfect. But this is one of the problems with modelling. Get some more water on there. One of the problems with modelling, if you know that the real subject isn't perfect, if you make your model accurate so that things are slightly out of line, okay, you're going to get comments like, oh look, that bloke can't even put decals on properly, or look, he's got that roundel out of line, that one on the wing is closer to the aileron than on the other wing. Or maybe that on that aircraft it actually was, but you know, it can be a good talking point, but it can actually, if you are putting your models in shows and stuff, it can actually detract from the finished product. Even though you know it's right, somebody else will think, oh my god, he's made a beautiful model, and then look, he's got the decals out of place. So you could always make a note on the card if you are in shows or whatever, but certainly with these bands, I'm going to get them as even as I can to the eye. Get them sort of perpendicular to the center line. I'm going to put some more water on there so I can play with it a bit more. If you keep them wet, they'll move around easily. And it's quite warm today, so they're drying out fairly fast. That was moved right up. See, they want to go up higher. But I don't want them to go up higher, I want them to stay down here. And this is really difficult for me because I would normally be doing this under a magnifier. But there you go, get the gist. And then what we'll do is we'll put the next ones on top. Oops, I've just touched that one, look. Put the next ones on top. Get a cotton bud and move some of that water because it is now absolutely dripping wet. Grab our tweezers and position it all again. Oh come on, it's stuck overlapped, look, and I don't want that. There we go, let's let go now. Right, and it's gone too far up. I'm sorry if this is boring to watch, but it's the way it is. You've got a fast forward button. You've got a double speed button. You've got an off button. Bloody typical, this one's really going to play me out now. I did all 7 of those ones that I've already done there, probably in the time it's taken me to do these 4. Come on. Oh Jesus, look at it. Right, that's going to have to do. Okay, we'll leave that like that for now. Then what I'm going to do is put these bombs on here. Okay, and then what we can do is make sure they all sort of line up. Just sort of, you want it all about the same. So we'll get another couple in the water. Take them out once they're wet. Get some water on these here. They're starting to go down lovely there. So that's gone like that, so I'm guessing these are going to be ready to go now. Just pull it off the edge of the paper. See, that one's fitting itself, it's curling around on its own. So get it right here and then play with the underside. See how easy that one went compared to that one. It's crazy, isn't it? Right, and then I reckon you could spend as long on these bombs as you could on the rest of the bloody model. It's crazy. A lot of people say they wish they'd done the bombs separately to the carriers. Well, yeah, but it certainly does make doing this a lot easier. You've got something to hold on to and get them all even and everything, so they all look about the same. So there we go, you can see them there. They're all about even, they look about the same. That one's a little bit off. Okay, so once you're happy with the position, make sure they're not too baggy. Make sure they're not all sort of, sticking up off the surface. But if you look at the four there, you can see they're not perfect because they're all sort of, they're the wrong shape. They should have been a tighter circle. You may wish, if you're skillful enough, you may wish to paint these on. But anyway, so I'm going to get some Microset now. I'll just lay it on the top. Okay, and I am pretty much flooding it because I don't want to move the decal. So if I put the brush over there too dry, it's likely to move it. I've just knocked that one out of true, haven't I? So we just come along now and pull that back. Okay, look at them underneath, they all look about right. That one there's got a bit of a step in it. Even though we're never going to see it, I'll sort it out anyway. There we go, and then we can get some more Microset. Just get that on there. And that should work its way under the decal. Okay, that middle one, the end one there moved. So we just move that back. There we go. So you put them together like that and you can see they look pretty much the same. When they're in front like that, then no one's going to notice if they're slightly out. But as long as they're all about the same, and like you say, don't need to be perfect, and we're going to be weathering them anyway. So, right, so we leave that a few minutes to dry, go on and do some others, and then what I'll do is I'll paint some Microset around, and you can see how these have all gone like hexagonal when you look at them on the end and how they've lifted away. Well, these were exactly the same, and then when I put the Microset on, it's pulled them all down, and they're all pulled down and they look painted on now. So I could put some more Microset on. I don't know if the camera's going to focus on this, but if you look in this area here where I'm pointing at now with the tweezers, if it will focus on it, you should be able to see there's a wrinkle in it there, and I can put some more Microset on and get that out. Or I can touch it with a cotton bud, not rub it, just touch it. And it may get it out, but as I say, it doesn't matter, we're going to be weathering them anyway. So I'll get the rest on and then I'll get some Microsol on there. When I say Microset and Microsol, these are the two products I'm referring to. I've got my little premium hobby stand here. I keep all my decaling tools, my decaling tweezers, although I'm using these at the moment. Microset is that one there. Okay, and then Microsol is that one there. There are loads of different decal setting solutions on the market. Lots and lots of different ones. There's this one here, which you get from Premium Hobbies, Decal Fixer, and this one is designed to go on at the end. But it's a sort of, to me, it's almost like a varnish kind of thing. I think it's good for the bigger decals, like on cars and stuff. But certainly for little stuff like this, I always find Microset and Sol to be very good. I hear the UMP stuff is very, very good because he makes 3 different strengths. So if you buy all 3 and you struggle, like for instance, I always struggle with Hobby Boss decals, they're very difficult. You would use the strongest one on that to make them go down. And then if you look at my other videos, you'll see, Tamiya acrylic thinners. You can use this stuff. You could go down with Mr. Colour leveling thinners. You can actually use Tamiya extra thin. you know, to really make them go down. But for stuff like this, you don't need that. All you want them to do is pull down. If you're doing something like an instrument panel where you need them to go into an instrument panel, you may need the strongest stuff you can get. So I'm going to get the rest of these done. I'll get some Microsol on them, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the results. Okay, so these are the ones I did with you guys, and these are the ones I've just done. And I've literally just put some Microsol on them. So happy with that. Got them all pretty much lined up. Pretty much, he says. There we go. So it's gone out a bit again as well, hasn't it? Come on, get yourself sorted out. Right. So basically, what I want to show you now is what happens when you put Microsol on. Microsol is the red one. For the newer modelers out there, because if you use this stuff for the first time, you're going to be like, oh, what have I done? And the thing to learn is here, watch what happens, and then you do not touch it. Okay, so I'm just going to come along with some Microsol. Now, if you look at these close up, you can see they're slightly wrinkled up and everything, but watch after I've put this on. Okay, and I'm going to put a lot on again because I don't want to be working the brush too hard into the decal. And chance pulling it around, moving it or whatever. Okay, so you can see it there. Now I've put too much on purpose because it's got a lot of work to do. I'll do the same on this one. And hopefully by the time we've done this one, you will see what happens. And that's what we want to do. I want to show you what happens with this stuff. So put the lid back on. So you see this in real time. I'm not going to turn the camera off. But if you look at them now close up, you can see how they've all wrinkled up. Okay. So that's what happens. It all wrinkles up and looks terrible. But if you give it a few minutes, it'll pull down and it'll look just like that. It'll look painted on. So that's what we're going to do. We'll leave those to go now. You can see as we go more and more, they're wrinkling up. Come on, camera. You can see there they're wrinkling up. Okay, so that's the thing. Put them on, let them wrinkle up. Do not touch them. If you touch them, you'll destroy them. When they're in this state, I mean, look at that one now. When they're in this state, they're really, really fragile. But what they'll do is they'll pull back and they'll pull down lovely. Okay? Right, so we are back again. Let's just zoom you in a bit, actually. Let's bring you in. There we go. So you can see the bombs are done now. This is literally, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours after I put the Microsol or Microsol. You can see they've gone down lovely. So that's pretty cool. And you can also see now the effects of that mottling I did in part 12. So quite pleased with that's come out. We're going to do some more mottling with them. Before we do that, we need to sort of seal these decals in, because it's always a good idea to seal them in, and then any work you do, any scratching, or you're not just going to rip a section of decal off, because you've got to remember that it's a very thin, flimsy fill which is stuck on with a not very strong glue, and if you try and scratch a bit, you're likely to just pull a whole chunk off. So it's best to seal them in, let that varnish, whatever you're going to put over the top, dry, and then you're safe then with all your weathering and everything. And also if there is an area where the decal is lifted slightly, your weathering won't go under it and just lift it off. So I'm going to give those a seal in now. I'll use the aqua gloss, basically because it's brilliant. It goes on, as you can see, it leaves a nice sheen, it seals them in, and then we've got a great base then to go forward with. So I'll get them sealed in now, and then I'll come back and we need to start looking at something else. Right, so I've just assembled this ladder. Now, I've just done the video, the update video, and talked about this. If you're building this kit and you're going to have the ladder down and you're a beginner, I suggest you go ahead and do this now, because you may well struggle. There's nothing too difficult about it. It's just that it's quite fiddly and there's no positive contact points, and you may be pulling your hair out trying to get the handrails to stay on. Plus, on top of that, mine had a moulding fault in G14, the left one, so it just fell apart when I cut it off the sprue. and also this end of it, this curved end, was all deformed. It was all like twisted and stretched. So whether it came out of the mold too quick or it got damaged in the box, I don't know. I mean, it could have got damaged since I've had it in the box, but it was a bit fiddly to get together. The other thing is, if you look on here, Airfix is telling you to glue the ladder to the door and then glue the railings on. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it separate, because now I can prime this in white and then spray it yellow, which is the right way to spray yellow. Prime white and then spray yellow. And then I could just glue that on with a couple of dabs of super glue or PVA or something, because the door is going to be black, and on that side it's going to be white on that side. And that way I can get it all together without having to do any masking or anything, and I can paint the ladder next when we do the wheelbase, and the bomb bay. So there's also an ejector pin mark there to take care of, so you might want to look forward, you know, even if you are the most experienced modeler in the world, rather than find it at the time, get rid of it now, and then when you come to use the door, it's ready to go. So without further ado, we need to move ahead. So as I say, I've done the ladder. The bombs have been gloss coated and are drying. So I'm looking through the instructions. We've done all the undercarriage. We've built up the bomb bay doors. We need to sand those to length first. Undercarriage doors and everything are going to go on after we've built the undercarriage or fitted the undercarriage. I have done a little test run with my system of having the undercarriage all built up and putting the door in, and you can actually get it all in together. And I have actually sanded a bit off the mounting. We need to get the ailerons and the flapperons or flappervators, whatever they are, in, and also need to look at some seam work around there. But I won't do any seam work on camera because you guys must be absolutely sick and tired of seeing me sand things down. Okay, so staying with these bombs, these decals have gone on now, the clear coat's all dried. So what I'm going to do now is any little ridges or any little lumps and bumps that are on them, we can take them off now just by literally sanding over the clear coat or the decal. So that's absolutely falling apart, which these skinny sticks normally do. But just sand over any ridges or anything and just remove, I've removed some paint from there, but that's not a problem, we can touch that in. And just remove any raised areas of decal or any little steps you've got, and this will really make them look painted on. Okay, just like so, just a quick swipe. And I'm not worried about the green paint and rubbing off, I can put that back on easily. There we go, that's them all done. So now we need to start looking at doing some more weathering on them. And what I'm going to do is add some chipping to that yellow to make it look like it's not perfect, like it is, you know, because you can see on there it's a perfect yellow line, you know, it's not like that in real life, it's all chipped and everything. So we're going to do a bit of work on that. So I'll get some of the paints ready and then we'll go back to that. Right, so I've got a cotton bud here, moistened with water. I've got my stippling brush, piece of paper towel and XF58 olive green. So I'm just going to, whoopsie daisy, that was quick, close. I'm just going to take some of this paint, remove most of it, just like your dry brushing, and then first of all do these fronts where I've taken the paint off them. And then what we can do is just dab some paint on, just like this. As you can see, it's really, really dry. It's hardly leaving anything on there at all. But what it's doing, if you look at this closely now, it's taking away the sharpness of the yellow. Okay, so it's just sort of, and if you're not happy with the finish, you could come along with your moistened cotton bud and just take some of that paint away, just like so. Okay, so what you're trying to do is just break up that perfect clean edge. And then what I'm going to do is, just like we did before, just on some of them, put some paint on there, and I'm going to go over with different colours and just keep practicing and keep playing. I mean, as I say, you're watching me do this on camera. I haven't practiced this. This isn't something that I've, you know, already done 3 lots of bombs and then boop, there you go, they're done. It's me. What I like to do on my channel, as a lot of people comment, is I like to do stuff on the screen, and if it doesn't work, then you know not to do it. So, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of channels where people just show you how to do this and how to do that, and they don't show you their cock-ups. So that's what I'm doing here. So we'll just remove some of that paint from there. And as you can see, it's giving us this beaten, battered worn effect, which is what we're after. So I'll carry on with this, and I'm going to play with some other colours, and then I'll come back and show you how it is and tell you what I've done. Okay, so they're done. As you can see, we've got a quite beaten up mottled effect. At the moment they're still shiny because of the clear and because the paint's still a bit sticky, but you can see that one there is really beat up. Got one here which is really been beat up. It's like 9 years and 362 days or whatever. Apparently they're serviced every 10 years. So as this is what I was saying before, some of them will be like almost like new, like this one here. Okay, and some of them will be beat up. Then what we're gonna do now, we're gonna give these a flat coat. That one there, I've really beat that one up, if you see. We're gonna give these a flat coat. I'm gonna take a bit off of that yellow. Be careful here because there's thinners on that brush, not water. But yeah, you can see it's beat up. So what I've done, I've just literally gone around with this brush, and you can see the different colours I've used. The first thing I did was the olive green you saw me do, XF68. Then I went in with some, believe it or not, XF21 Sky. Then some XF63. Then some dark green XF73. And then finally I went in with some XF10 Brown just to simulate a bit of corrosion and stuff. And as you can see, like with that one there, the middle one there, it's got that corrosion effect. Now I'm going to get a flat coat on it, and when they're flatted down I think they're going to look much better than they do now. But this is all about artistic license. This is just trying to make something which is plain, and we want it to sit in here, and we want it to look nice. So it's going to sit in there like that, sort of thing, like that. And we want it to sort of look nice against its white background. So that's why I'm sort of going a bit over the top with the enhancements and everything, and trying to bring some life to the underside of the model. Otherwise, it's just going to be a big white blob, as you know. So I'm going to get these matte coated now, and then I'll come back then and we'll mask and spray the tails. For the newer modelers out there, I just want to show you something here about flats. Now this is Tamiya XF86 flat clear, and it's very hard wearing. You've got to make sure you really stir it well. You've got to get the flat pigment part of it mixed into the carrier or whatever it is, and then spray that on. But if you want a really flat finish, I have found this to be the best matte varnish there is on the market. It has a downside, it's not very hard wearing. So if you're painting something you're going to keep picking up, if it's say the Vulcan and you keep picking it up here, you will basically wear the paint away, or even it'll peel away. It's not very hard wearing, but it is bloody good stuff. Now if I just show you this has been sprayed with Tamiya flat, and as you can see under the light, it's got a sheen to it. You can see that if you look on this bomb on your right here, you can see it's got a definite sheen. And basically this is the difference of the two. You can see this one has no sheen whatsoever. Okay, so I'll basically show you how to put this stuff on. You need to be, just check the flow, you need to be fairly far back and put it on very lightly, and you can see straight away it's starting to go really dull. Okay, you'll be able to watch that dry. I can put some air on it. You can watch the sheen disappear before your very eyes, and it just becomes absolutely dead flat. Okay, so that's the AK Ultra Matte Varnish, AK183. It is incredible stuff. Okay, I've got you zoomed in a bit closer than normal, and I want to show you something. If you've got one of these Infini Easy Cutting Type A mats, it's just a straight one, and you've got some Tamiya 18mm masking tape, this is going to make masking the bombs pretty easy. I'm going to show you something now. Get your 18mm masking tape and put it over and tie it up against the edge here of the 1mm line, as you see there. And then come along and count over 9mm. Now I've always questioned this, it actually comes out in more than 9mm. I think they allow for the cut, but come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then cut down. Okay, so that's that one. Now if you look on the end, you've got a little bit of an overhang. It's like 1/2 millimetre, so cut that off. Okay, so we're going to remove that from there, stick that down here. Okay, now come over 10, these are 5mm lines, so come over 10mm, and another 10mm, and another 10mm, and this is going to do for this one, even though it's got a rough edge on it. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, so we have now got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks of 9 by 10mm, and we've got 4 blocks of about 7 by 10mm. It's actually about 9.5 and 7.5, so in reality. So if you haven't got one of these mats, that's the size, and I'll show you now what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take the stupid stick off the bob, and I'm going to come along, and this one here, and I'm going to make sure I know which edge I'm doing because it's almost square. So I'm going to push this. Okay, I'm going to push this edge of the masking tape down into here. Okay, down into this trough. Making sure lengthwise it's roughly centered, because this is getting us ready now for spraying the white. We may as well spray everything. We may as well mask everything now. Spray the green, and then we'll mask off the tails, and we can spray the white. And then you can roll that round, push that in, and you can see that's the perfect length. Because if you remember, I cut the bottom of the bombs out, and then just get a cocktail stick or something and go in there and just push it in. So that's your 9mm, and you can do the same on the other side with the other 9mm. And then with this narrower piece, okay, again, make sure you use the correct edge. What I'm going to do is, again, push that down into that gap, just like so. Okay, make sure it's pushed down well in. Just that, roll it over, push it in the other side, and that's that one masked as well then. So it's all worked out very nicely for us. If you've got 18mm tape and an infinity cutting mat. If you haven't, cut the tape. That is roughly, if I measure it with a rule, that is about, as you can see there, it's about 9.5mm wide, just under, and this one is just over 7. So that's just over 7 and about 9.5. Okay, if you haven't got an infinity cutting mat. So there we go. And I'll just show you again, so we can take that one off. Again, make sure we use the right edge, because it's hard to tell which is the 9.5 and which is the 10. And if you go for the 10, it'll be too long. I should be using my special tweezers that I got, shouldn't I? Let's grab those a minute. These are special tweezers you get from Premium Hobbies, and they have a bit of tape on one side. And if you have that tape towards you, you will see that they easily let go of masking tape and they don't keep sticking to everything. And a lot of people think it's a bit of a gimmick, but I'll tell you what, with stuff like this, they work really, really well. Okay, let's push that down in there, and then we can get the thinner one. Get the thinner one, push that down in there. Make sure it's gone right down in, and then with a cocktail stick, just spread that down in there. In fact, I can use the tweezers for that now. There we go. And that is our bombs masked for painting the rails. What we've got to do then is wrap around the fronts and the tails, and we can spray the white. So, good little solution for you there, guys. Okay, so as you can see here on the bench, all done using the infinity cutting mat. Some of the masking tape I've used, Mr. Hobby and the Tamiya. And basically it's driven me absolutely around the bend. I've got to go and cap these ends off now, so maybe if I kind of cut through there, maybe I can get this off and just cover them all up. But yeah, this has driven me absolutely crazy, and almost at the end of it, I think I've noticed I've done something wrong. I think I've got the tails too short. I think they could do with being a bit longer, probably coming up to almost level with this rack. But basically I've got 1mm tape wrapped around there behind the rack. Okay, so you can see there from the rack 1mm tape, and then this calculates on that one to 4mm tape. So from that rack, as you can see, I've got a casualty here rub and handle that's snapped off. But oh god, this has been a complete and utter pain in the bum. So yeah, and I've also realised there was absolutely no point in going all special on masking off these areas in here to show them white, because once you put these bombs on top you can't see them anyway, so that was a waste of time. But Yeah, good practice for us, isn't it? So basically that is pretty much that, and they are ready now to spray the green onto the tails, and then we'll mask the tails up and do the white. And I think I might glue this one back together, but I'll probably best leave it till after the masking tape's off, because if we get any glue on the masking tape, then it will capillary under and ruin the paint. So I'll do that after. So there we go. Yeah, so if I were you doing yours, make your tails a bit longer. Perhaps go 3mm on there and just have them flush with the back of the rack there. So there we go, you can see them all done now. That's all sprayed with the XF11 green, and basically you hear extractor on the background, and I've also gone over them with some X35, is it? X35 semi-gloss clear, so that just gives them a bit of a sheen to make them really stand out against the matte bombs. As I say, I think I got them a bit too short, hey ho, so never mind. So what we'll do now is when that's all dry, we'll mask the tails off, and then we can do the racks. I have never spent so long pissing around with little tiny bits like this. It's just ridiculous. This is just crazy, and I can't wait to see the back of them, to be quite honest with you. Right, so here we go, next day now, all painted white, and we're ready to get the masking off, so let's see how they look. So I'll unmask one lot of each on camera, and I'll do the rest off because it's going to be quite boring to watch, but everybody does like to see an unmasking, and we'll see how successful it was. This is going to take a while, because if I can just pull them off. There's the fronts come off. There's another reason for sealing those decals in. As you can see, the masking, the masking would have just ripped the decal off otherwise. So I didn't think of it at the time, but as it happens, it's something I would have had to have done. I can't just rip them off like that. It's this bloody Mr. Hobby masking tape. It's so sticky. It's yes, you can detack it on the back of your hand and everything, but then I always worry about getting a hair stuck on it or something. But at the end of the day, just use Tamiya tape, it's much better. So I'm going to find the end of this one. So we've got another bit on there. As you can see, this is, you have fast forward if you want to fast forward, but see, I've got a bit of white on there, or I've scratched some paint off, so that's going to be a little touch up. Oh, come on. This stuff is horrible. I think the rest is Tamiya tape, so we should be a lot better with that. Right, so we've got the main parts. Now we've got to get this 1mm band off. Actually, this is Mr. Hobby tape, so we'll see how this comes off. That's interesting. Look, the white paint is cracked. So how has that happened? Because maybe I left it to dry. It's very strange. Get off. I can't find the ends of this tape. There we go. I'm trying to get this off without scratching everything. Oh, come on. Oh, for God's sake, get off. Go away. Right. There's Jessica Murnoff crying down the stairs because there's a van just shut its doors outside, so she thinks there's a delivery, and therefore that's an excuse to go mental. which is what she likes to do whenever there's a delivery or somebody touches the door or walks past the house or breathes or something. How dare they? Right, so that's that back half unmasked there. That's interesting how that paint's cracked. That's weird. Right, it's interesting though how it happened, because we could use that. Let's get this off. We could use that to effect. I think I need new glasses, guys. I'm struggling to see this. There we go. So now we see for the first time, we can see the difference between the weathered bomb and the nice clean tail. If you remember, if you look back, I did that work. I scraped away the side of the bomb, which makes it look a lot better, in my opinion. This bloody masking tape, get off. Right. I've got to somehow now pick away these bits in the middle without scratching anything. So if we go from the underside, it doesn't matter so much if we scratch it underneath, because we're not going to see it. There we go. That's that one off. Get off. And then here with that one. That's that one off. So now you can see the effects of the semi-gloss against the matte, against the weathering and everything with the white background. So lots and lots and lots of work. Now I'm not going to mask this on camera because it's just so boring to watch. So I'll do this, get these unmasked, and then we'll see what they look like in the Bombay. Finally, we're there. Right. After all that work and all that messing around, these are only clipped together, they're not glued together. But we can see how they look. And we've got all the different shades and everything going on. And I'm really pleased with how they've come out, actually. So let's have a quick look at them in the Bombay. See how they look. What a lot of work. What a lot of messing around. But at the end of the day, I think it's probably worth it. I think it's been worth it. What do you think? Maybe you guys will decide to close your Bombays up or go blue steel after seeing this. I think that's how it fits. And then that one's going to go in there. Come on. It's a very strange fitment. And I would say, guys, if you've got one of these and you're hanging on for aftermarket, I reckon Edward will probably make these bomb racks, because when you look at them in real life and their sort of structure, they're sort of fabricated from sheet by the look of it. I think Edward would make, if they get them right, they'll make a beautiful job of making them out of brass and have you fold them up, and they'll look a lot better than these lumps of plastic. But there we go, you can see now how that Bombay looks, and you can see how little you can see, especially when you put the doors in. Get the Bombay doors out of here. Not sure if these are going to fit in. Bloody masking tape. I keep finding masking tape stuck to my fingers. Get off. Right. So when you put the Bombay doors in, like so, just make it stay there sort of roughly. There we go. You can see that when you look at it, you're not really going to see a lot of them at all. But you know, I think it's worth the effort to really make that pop out, make the bottom of the plane sort of pop out a bit. Here we are, from the back and from the side. So yeah, really, really nice, really pleased with that. So there we go. So now I've got to get the Bombay painted, and what I will do, I will get the Bombay painted off camera, and I will see you back for part 14. I know this has been quite boring probably, but a lot of people, I know at least 3 or 4 people commented they were looking forward to seeing me do the bombs and how I did them. I think a lot of you will get a lot from this, particularly the newbies, and I think they even stay there without even being glued in. So I'm not saying you could build your model without glued in, but they don't fall out. So there we go. So there we are. happy with that. Thanks for watching. As you can see, I've put some Mr. Surfacer around these jet exhausts, so we'll do some seam work around them, but I'll do that off camera. I won't bore you with that. So I'll see you back for part 14, and we will get the bomb bay and the wheel bays painted. That will be my next job. Okay, so thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.